Hi, I'm CF3 Loyal, still staying at home every other Saturday, bringing you the latest quintessential Rangers vlog. I've almost calmed down now. Match day 4 finished, Livingston 0, Rangers 0. And what was I saying after my last video about deja vu? We've all seen this movie before. The game itself doesn't need analysed. We can't have any excuses about the pitch being poor or Livingston were anti-football. I think they only had one shot on goal. Steven Gerrard said in his post-match press conference that we have a week to prepare against Kilmarnock, who will play a similar style of football against Rangers. I'm sorry, Mr. Gerrard, but we've had 2 years to prepare for teams that come and sit deep against Rangers, and we failed again today. Rangers know how to ruin a good weekend. I've been saying ever since the ball and goalie incident on social media and in my videos that we've got a huge opportunity to put pressure on Celtic and build a bit of daylight early on in the campaign. We've just blown it. There's a video that I keep saying I want to do, and that's assess what do Rangers need to do to win the league. We've got the players. That team today should have been more than good enough to go out and beat Livingston. But it comes down to mentality. And there's a specific philosophy called teacup that I want to explore at some point. And I think it's the mentality that needs seriously questioned of the players and the management team, because they've let us down again. The manager said he was happy with the tempo today. Was I watching a different game? Now, going back to the team, I said already it should be good enough. But there was one glaring omission that I think changed the game, and it was Joe Aribo was not in the starting 11. Now, apparently he got injured in training, and it's not necessarily Joe Aribo being missing that entirely changed the dynamic of the game, but it's the role that Joe Aribo plays. I said last night on social media that I wanted at least 2, if not 3 new signings, and I said 3 because we're linked with Jacob Murphy in the press, and I said that Jacob Murphy would be a much better option than your Jordan Jones and Brandon Barkers. But the 2 positions that I've continued to say throughout that we need to go and strengthen is a box-to-box central midfielder, somebody to partner Ryan Jack. Now, Ryan Jack does not escape criticism, and it's beginning to grow on social media that people are saying that Ryan Jack has not performed to the level that he should and can play at ever since the cup final against Celtic, and I completely agree with it. Ryan Jack has not been good enough, and if Ryan Jack wants to keep his position ahead of Glenn Kamara, if another box-to-box midfielder comes in, he needs to do a hell of a lot better than what he's doing right now. But the other position that I've said last night on Twitter that we need to go and strengthen is another number 10, somebody to compete, to challenge and to cover for one of Kent, Aribo or Hadji if they're not performing or they're unavailable. And people were saying to me last night that we do not need another number 10. We're a centre mid away from winning a league. Joe Aribo's omission today proved why we need another number 10. The players who come in just now to cover that position don't offer the same goal threat. They change our dynamic of our team, or they're not good enough. Now, we opted to bring in Scott Arfield today. We could have done loads of things. We could have started Hadji in that central role and played a more wide midfielder like Brandon Barker. Outright, but we opted to go for Scott Arfield, and what I would say was the subtle change when we started Arfield today is I think we moved away from a 4-2-3-1, which has been successful in the last 3 games, to a 4-3-3 and had almost 3 players sitting a wee bit deeper than that one player further ahead and behind Morelos. And I think where we missed Aribo today was not necessarily in the killer balls, but it was actually somebody else right up that field and creating problems in that position. Because Yanis Hadji once again had a poor game. Now, I said after the St Mirren game that Yanis Hadji has had 2 poor games in a row, and I said it after the St Johnstone game. But after the St Mirren game, somebody challenged me on Twitter saying I know nothing about football if I think that Yanis Hadji's not performing. Now, I'm not saying that I want Yanis Hadji dropped, I don't think he's good enough. I just simply said he's not performing. Do you still think he's performing at a level that's good enough for Rangers? Now, what I was about to say before I get angry again is when we've got the three deeper lying players and you've got Hadji not performing, it means that teams can double up on Ryan Kent. Ryan Kent was the only player who was attempting to take the ball and go forward. But it's very easy to double up against Ryan Kent when he is that only player able to do that. Now, spoken about Scott Arfield, I'm not going to dwell on Scott Arfield too much, but people were calling out Stephen Davis after Bayer Leverkusen, saying that he didn't do enough when he came on and questioned his role in the team. I just asked this simple question. What does Scott Arfield bring us? Now, Scott Arfield and Stephen Davis are very experienced central midfield players who've played in the English Premiership. They've both got huge international experience. They should be more than good enough to come in and do a job when called upon, and neither have so far. If Scott Arfield and Stephen Davis want to still be here and compete for number 55, they need to do a hell of a lot better. Now let's talk about the subs. Subs was something I debated in detail against St Johnstone, and I'm going to call it again because there's three specific subs that I want to talk about, and the first one is bringing on our new players Roof and Itten. Roof and Itten, when they came on, looked so rusty, looked way off the pace and not ready. Now I get Roof in particular hasn't played a lot of games for Anderlecht and needs game time, and Steven Gerrard must see enough of them in training just now. Roof in particular looked off it. Itten as well, he should be a lot more match fit than Roof because the Switzerland League didn't finish that long ago and he played in it for St Gallen. He looked too rusty. If they two players want to add real value to our squad, they need to get up to speed very, very quickly. Now, the other change was we brought on Brandon, put your head down and run in a straight line Barker. And there was another option available to us, which was Greg Stewart. Now, Greg Stewart necessarily isn't the answer, but Brandon Barker, if Brandon Barker's the answer, what was the question? I don't know what Brandon Barker brings, I really don't. The thing for me about Greg Stewart is Greg Stewart could have played in that hole that Aribo has been playing ahead of the two deep lying playmakers, and he is more intelligent and can play that killer pass. For me, he would have been the better option off the bench than Brandon Barker. The other one is we sub Morelos. Now, I can understand why we sub Morelos because he did not have a good game, in particular the headed chance that he had, a real lack of composure. Now, if that's the Alfredo Morelos that's going to pick and choose when he wants to turn up and give us performances like that, then you may as well not be here, Alfredo. We may as well just let you go now because that was simply not good enough. But one player who never seems to escape criticism from the Rangers support is our captain, James Tavernier. Our right back is not why we drop points today. You know, he can do no right sometimes. You know, we drop points and he doesn't go in front of the camera and fans call him a bottle merchant. Today he's went in front of the cameras and given his thoughts on the performance, and he's abused on social media. Don't abuse our players. That's not the behaviour of a Rangers fan. I'm trying to think of positives. The only positive I can think of right now was the Borna Barisic free kick. You know, once again he's stepped up and he's had an absolute terrific set piece. Something that Steven Gerrard called out after St Johnstone, that Tom Coulshaw does a lot of work on set pieces, and the player himself works hard on individually on his free kicks. But unfortunately for us, and unfortunately for Borna, it seems the keeper today, the Livy keeper, had been watching his free kicks previously, and especially the one against St Johnstone, because his positioning today is the reason why he made that save. Very unlucky, but probably the only point in the game where I feel there was a real bit of quality. Really bitterly disappointed. Really, really bitterly disappointed. Hopefully by next week there's something to cheer us up, something to give us a lift, potentially a new player. As I said already, we've been linked with Jacob Murphy. There continues to be stories about Andreas Skov-Olsen. It's over to you, Ross Wilson. Work your magic. If we want to win the league, we need to bring in more quality. That team that's there right now, the options in the final third, will not win us title number 55. It's a big job ahead for Ross Wilson to get rid of some of those fringe players who are not good enough and bring in 2 or 3 players of the real quality who can challenge, compete and cover when guys like Aribo aren't available. We can't rely on the same players over the course of a full season, especially when it's so congested with no winter break. Not good enough. I don't think you'll hear from me again until Kilmarnock. Hopefully we bounce back with a big result against Killie. Opportunity wasted. Bitterly disappointed. Thank you for watching. I'm CF3 Loyal. Stay safe, stay staunch.